10:40, we're going to go in and watch group time in Robin's class. But I'll talk about it for just a minute. So line time or group time is very different from the rest of the day. Who has observed group time or been here for group time before? Okay. So it's basically one teacher leading the exercises for the whole class, and we'll do singing and play games, and it's really important at that time that one or two teachers be backing up whoever's leading group, because one child's disruption can really take the whole activity downhill. And if I'm leading an activity, I'm leading a song, and I have to start talking to a child about their behavior, it interferes with the whole activity, and it's like I'm interrupting myself, and then the kids that are participating are disrupted. So there's a few techniques. As the year goes on, most of the time you can just kind of sit and enjoy group with everybody else and just keep an eye on the children. But I think one of the, if you're a person who tends to, like, if you're sitting, kind of get caught up and just like watching and participating and not paying attention to the kids, I recommend you not sit, but stand outside of the group. It doesn't feel as nice, but then you can maintain that vigilance. If you can sit with the class, I think that's ideal, but only if you, when I'm doing it, like I've backed Robin up a lot because she's been training this year, so she's led group a lot. I pretty much am scanning like this the whole time. And if that means I don't know what the hand motions are or something, I just don't do them. It's fun to learn how the songs go, but your priority needs to stay with helping the children to model good behavior. If there are two children talking, we'll at the beginning of the year, every time, we'll remind the children of the group behavior expectations. They should sit with their legs folded, hands in their lap or on their knees, but not touching anyone else. Or if you're doing hand motions, they do hand motions. They shouldn't be laying down. Now, of course, sometimes there's like a new 3-year-old, and you know that they just need to like stretch for a minute, but you should really be up a lot of the time. Even if you are sitting in a spot at group, you're moving around, you're taking a child quietly by the hand and moving them to another spot if they're talking to their friend over here, especially if it's an ongoing problem. If there is a child who's rolling around on the floor, you're going to come just, gently and politely model the way to fold their legs and maybe have them sit next to you. It's a little hard to move the kids around because it's usually a pretty tight packed circle or ellipse, but I will model this all for you in the other classroom at 10:40, so help me remember that we need to go over there because I don't think it's on the schedule. Questions about backing up group time? It's just, I guess the main message is that helping the children to behave properly is your main goal, and that's hardest at the beginning of the year. After a month, we taught the intro camp a few weeks ago. April and I taught it together. We had 11 brand new 3-year-olds, and by Thursday of the first week, they were almost sitting at group perfectly. And part of that was because there were none of the older kids modeling, like talking to their neighbor or rolling around on the floor, but and it's a little easier with that small of a group, but it just takes that real consistent sharing of the expectation, and then they get it.
I found it hard to back up group without interrupting the group itself, trying to get someone to fold their leg or to it's hard to do it wordlessly.
Well, you can whisper. If there's, and I never, here's the group, I would never walk through the middle of the group. That's very disruptive. So you walk around the back, and the child's over here, and you can just get down real close to them and model, no talking, or, the easiest thing is to move them. I would often just take somebody by the hand, and they don't mind. It's not like, it doesn't feel punitive to them. It just is like, oh, the teacher's holding my hand, and then sometimes I bring them back to where I was sitting, and I'll put them there, and then I go sit where they were, if that helps. If it's a child who really, some children do not have the core strength to sit very long. That's a different issue, but I sometimes will get a chair, and I'll have a child sit, back from the group in a chair. Then, of course, you get, 4 other kids saying, I want a chair, can I have a chair? I was like, no, only this child gets a chair, and they don't usually ask very many questions about that.
Oh, just really quick, I'm interrupting. When the other teacher is, tidying up the room and someone's left out their work, do you prefer, how do you deal with that?
I try to, during group, at some point say, Gracie, has anyone left their work out?
Okay.
And then you would say, I've got a metal inset tray over here, does
Okay.
somebody know whose it is? And the children usually will claim it at that time, but I do not usually want the teacher to put it away. I want to figure out whose it is, or have another child that is willing to help the class by putting it away. If that happens also, you can kind of, if I were leading group and you came and sort of stood here with like a look on your face, like you needed to say something, I would invite you to say something the next time I had the opportunity. I think probably everyone does it that way. Usually we don't put the children's work away unless, sometimes it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and there's something in the corner that you didn't notice, and then I would usually put it away unless it was a big work left out by a kindergartner, in which case I might put their name card on it and have them put it away the next day to just reinforce that their leadership is so important, and I don't want to lose track of the fact that they should put their own work away. At the beginning of the year, a lot of new students are going to leave a lot of work out. Sometimes it's impossible to track down who it belongs to, but usually you can figure it out. Okay, so we're going to talk about overviewing a little bit. The last handout in the philosophy section